He's a drummer, DJ, producer, author, and a founding member of The Roots,
Pew,
the house
pew.
band on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon on NBC. His new book, Creative Quest, is a New York Times bestseller and out now. Please welcome Questlove. It's so cool that you're here. It's much cooler than we are. So, some things are synonymous with New York City. The Yankees.
Boo.
Or if you're not an oligarch, the Mets. Radio City Music Hall. There's the CrossFit gym where Don Jr. makes people Instagram him. But nothing defines New York City more than its historic subway. And I say historic because it's an ancient ruin. Look at this fantastic ancient relic called the subway. Who built it? Was it aliens? How did it work? The sorry state of New York's public transportation is more than just a backdrop for Cynthia Nixon's campaign ads. It's part of a larger story of just how much we have neglected our roads and trains and airports and public transit systems all over America. And since it is Infrastructure Week, we thought we should explore the sorry state of our transportation network in a game we're calling I'm Walking Here. Because the trains aren't running. Would anyone out there like to play the game? Hello.
Hi,
Hi, what's your name?
Brian.
Brian. Are you from New York?
I am.
Whereabouts?
Harlem.
Harlem.
Yes, Harlem, USA.
Are you ready to play the game?
John, I'm ready.
Great. Question number 1. Which of the following is true about the New York City subway system? Is it A?
New Yorkers have the longest average commute time in the country, which could explain why everyone is constantly giving each other the middle finger.
Is it B?
The New York subway is less reliable than any other major transit system in the world, and only 65% of weekday trains arrive on time. This is one key driver of people listening to more podcasts and is therefore good.
Is it C?
New York C-train cars are the oldest and continuous daily operation anywhere in the world. They break down 12 times as often as the average car in the system. That's why the C-train has been renamed the Giuliani line.
Or is it D?
While no one has studied this, it seems like the number of people cutting their nails on the subway has skyrocketed, and this shit has to stop.
No one is that busy. No one is that busy. What are you up? What are you doing? Brian?
I'm gonna guess B.
It's all of the above. Brian.
That was a hard one.
Was it?
Yes, it
You didn't even
was.
give him the option.
Brian, question number 2.
Redemption.
According to the American Society of Civil Engineers, the United States is short $2 trillion in infrastructure funding. By 2025, this will set the U.S. economy back $3.9 trillion and cost us 2.5 million jobs. But Trump's infrastructure plan says that new projects will be approved mostly on the basis of how much private funding they're able to generate. In other words, public goods like clean water, safe bridges, and efficient public transit will take a backseat to projects that will give investors higher returns. What's the problem? Is it A?
Because more than 40 city bridges are rated fracture critical and structurally deficient, and over 2 million cars drive on them daily, which is a time bomb waiting to happen.
Is it B?
Because over 40% of Manhattan roads are substandard, which means that if roads were sports teams, Manhattan would be home to some substandard team like the Red Sox or the Patriots. Yeah.
Imagine.
Tommy, we didn't look at the game.
Imagine. Hold on.
We gotta edit the
if
game.
New York City, if New York City had to deal with a team like the Red Sox
Oh,
or the Patriots.
don't you all go to Boston tomorrow?
Yeah.
We're going to Boston tomorrow.
But tomorrow in Boston,
But
he'll be
those
wearing,
Yankees
his Red
barely
Sox
have a
hat.
memory.
Be like,
I'm sorry. I got a little excited
Is it me?
because we were talking about Boston. Or is it C?
Because if the roads are shitty, there's no way for that racist lawyer who got mad about people speaking Spanish to get the fuck out of New York.
Or is it D?
Because I don't know if you noticed, but trains have been derailing like every day, and that's fine and cool when it happens in movies, but it's pretty terrifying when Spider-Man isn't around to web the train back together.
I'm going to say all of the above,
You
Jon.
got it.
Yeah, thank you.
Brian. Question number 3. In 2017, a survey of subway riders found that 74% of riders have been late for a work meeting because of delays on the subway. What is a serious consequence of this tardiness? Is it A?
Because if you're late for your work meeting, that means you have to stay even later at the office, which means you have to push back your goat yoga session tonight. And you already bought tickets like ages ago, and you've bailed on Betsy like 4 times already, and you know how Betsy gets when you bail on her. She can be a lot. And to be honest, you just can't deal with that right now because you're like really busy.
Or is it B?
Your boss, who pretends to be chill but is actually a tyrant, makes a joke about how you're blaming the subway again and says it's totally fine and he gets it, but deep down you know it's not fine. But what are you gonna do? Leave your house earlier? Nah, son. Nah.
What, are we going to leave our houses earlier? Is it C?
I mean, strictly from an LA perspective, I'd say there really aren't any consequences of being late. And honestly, you guys in New York are just way too focused on this stuff. I mean, what's the big rush? Just paddle out past the breakers, let the waves wash over you, bro. Try being present for once. Appreciate the now. Also, I don't know about vaccines, but crystals can cure cancer.
Or is it D?
New York City's independent budget office estimates that all these delays cost the city's economy around $300 million every single year.
It's definitely not C, so it's got to be D.
You got it, Brian. Question number 4. New York City Transit. It's bad. Who's to blame? Is it A?
Chris Christie, who killed a plan to build new tunnels from New Jersey to ease the burden on the North River Tunnel.
Is it B?
Donald J. Trump, who scaled back funding for the same tunnel, setting back hopes even further.
Is it C?
Super lawyer Rudy Giuliani, who in 1994 cut the city's contribution to the MTA by $400 million to avoid raising taxes.
Is it D?
Michael Bloomberg, who refused to increase the city's contribution to the MTA, which means it couldn't keep pace with inflation.
Is it E?
Bill de Blasio, who declined to increase operating subsidies or provide funding to address delays.
Is it F?
George Pataki, who eliminated all state subsidies for the MTA, forcing the MTA to rely only on fares, tolls, and taxes. He also redirected $850 million in tax dollars that was supposed to be used for transit and instead refinanced the MTA's debt using Bear Stearns, which made the bond underwriters $85 million, but really screwed over the MTA, especially during that little thing called the 2008 financial crisis.
Is it G?
Andrew Cuomo, who has frequently diverted MTA money to other projects, like the $5 million he took from the MTA to help run a state-run ski resort, and spent money putting up new signs and adding Wi-Fi instead of making much-needed safety repairs to trains and stations.
Is it I?
Washington journalists who spend more time covering the minutia of political fights than important policy proposals.
Is it J?
The Republican Congress, which spent most of the Obama administration blocking upgrades to our infrastructure, including an infrastructure bank and a national high-speed rail network.
Is it K?
A generation that took advantage of interstate highways and the public works of their parents, but those little ingrates spent that inheritance on lower taxes and cuts to public goods, even as our roads and bridges and airports and transit systems crumbled around us.
Wonder which generation that was. Was it L?
Again, the people who cut their nails on the train, because honestly, what the fuck,
Nasty.
guys?
Who's to
Nasty.
blame, Brian?
It's a tough one, Jon. I'm going to have to go all of the above once
Brian,
again.
you got it. It is all of the above. Brian, you've won. I'm walking here because the trains aren't running. Give it up to Brian for
Thanks,
playing
guys.
the game. Woo! Thank you to Questlove for playing and for DJing this show.